Darius Geis, Ronald Jones, Nick Chubb, Connor Williams, Chukwuma Okorafor, Brian O'Neill, Tyrell Crosby, Justin Reed, Jesse Bates, Ronnie Harrison, Dallas Goedert, Mike Gesicki, Isaiah Oliver, Dante Jackson, Josh Jackson, Maurice Hurst, Cortland Sutton, DJ Shark, Malik Jefferson, Harold Landry, Will Hernandez. I just rattled off 21 names right there. And one of those guys is going to be available for the Philadelphia Eagles at 52. So as we all know, last night, Eagles, they trade back from 32 to 52. Baltimore makes the leap up. They give the Eagles a second-round pick next year, and we have a swap of fourths. Eagles go from picking 132 to 125, and vice versa for Baltimore. So I liked the trade last night, and as I just kind of explained, I mean, there's going to be a player available to the Eagles at 52. I don't think there's a lot of separation in this draft from players that are going to be drafted from about 20 to 50. So that's kind of like what the case is for this class this year. What do I think the Eagles are going to do? I mean, I do think they'll go after the best player available because, say, like a Will Hernandez falls or something. I mean, you're not going to pass up on him. Or maybe even if Harold Landry falls, you're not going to pass up on him. But I think tackle, linebacker, or safety is the way to go because a lack of depth at tackle by the time you get to the fourth round. I don't know if you're going to get a good tackle. You look at linebacker after like Malik Jefferson and Josie Jewell, there is a drop-off. Now with Harold Landry, I think if he gets drafted by the Eagles, I think he would play defensive end. He'd put his hand in the dirt. We'll get to him in a second. And then at safety, you have Jesse Bates. You have Ronnie Harrison. I don't know if he's a fit, though, for the Eagles. And then Justin Reed, who would be the ultimate fit for the Eagles because of his ability to play the slot position. If Justin Reed is there at 52, I think he's going to be the pick, potentially. I'm really high on Brian O'Neill and Tyrell Crosby, those two tackles. If you watch my tackle rankings with Brendan, I was all over the place with my tackles, by the way. My tackle rankings are not like anybody else's. Brian O'Neill was actually my number one tackle, and you know there's a lot of similarities with him and Lane Johnson in terms of their athletic ability and even their background. Lane Johnson used to play quarterback and was kind of like a positional player before he moved to tackle. And Brian O'Neill, he was a wide receiver, and he's a guy that's a little bit small right now, a little thin, but there's room to grow within his body. I mean, he went from being a wide receiver to a tackle, so putting on the pounds is just going a little bit slow for him. But Brian O'Neill is like Lane Johnson in terms of his athleticism, and he's a guy, if you want to draft him at 52, I wouldn't hate that. He's my number one tackle in this draft. I'm not high on Mike McGlinchey. I think he struggles against speed rushers. Brian O'Neill, I think, is the guy with the biggest upside in this draft. Tyrell Crosby was my number 2 ranked tackle. His ability in pass protection. I mean, if he drops that anchor and he gets his hands on you, it's game over. And I think he handles speed rushers better than McGlinchey. Now, if you watch McGlinchey's tape against good competition, I mean, if you watched him against Georgia, Lorenzo Carter was eating him for lunch. Speed rush for days. And he struggles against that speed rush. That's why ultimately I think he's more of a right tackle in the NFL. If Connor Williams falls, I didn't have him ranked ahead of Brian O'Neill or Tyrell Crosby, but I mean, obviously I would think the Eagles would probably have him ranked ahead of those two because that's, basically the consensus there. And then Chukwuma Okorafor, that's my big sleeper, the tackle from Western Michigan. Jesse Bates is another guy I'm really high on, the safety from Wake Forest. He's got a lot of range in terms of his coverage skills. Could get better as a tackler, so he's got to get better there. He's not Ronnie Harrison in that area. Ronnie Harrison, more of a traditional in-the-box kind of safety. I don't know how good he's going to be in coverage. So I think for the Eagles fits, Justin Reed and Jesse Bates, better fits there. Dallas Goedert, Mike Gesicki, tight ends. Now, the thing about the tight end spot, you just went after Richard Rodgers, and you already have Zach Ertz. You don't have a blocking tight end. These guys are not blocking tight ends. So if you draft a Goddard or a Gesicki, it's more of a luxury at that spot. At cornerback, Dante Jackson is the name that intrigues me there. He's going to be playing strictly the slot in the NFL, and he and Jair Alexander are probably the two best slot cornerbacks in this draft. Isaiah Oliver, I think, is the best cornerback left on the board. He's a press man corner, and he's kind of like in that Nnamdi Asomugha mold. Nnamdi Asomugha could not play zone. I don't think Isaiah Oliver is going to be somebody that could play zone, but in terms of pressed man coverage abilities, he's got those long arms, a lot of length. I think that's where he's going to fit for the Eagles. But Eagles, actually, they play a lot of off coverage. You look at Josh Jackson. I don't know. He's in a lot of people's minds probably the best cornerback on the board. I don't know if he'd fit Philly because I think he's more of a zone corner. But you look at his instincts and his football IQ and his ball skills. I mean, they're right up there with the best cornerbacks in this draft. I don't think Maurice Hurst would be the pick at number 52. Again, defensive tackle. That would be more of a luxury kind of pick. We'll see about wide receiver. Cortland Sutton, DJ Shark, still out there. Shark is a burner. And if you want to pair somebody with Alshon Jeffrey more of that, back shoulder type receiver, DJ Shark, a speedster, it would make sense. Malik Jefferson, if he's there at 52, I think he could be a very, very good possibility. I think he could be a guy that gets drafted there. Harold Landry, I think I talked about him before. I think he's more of a defensive end, put his hand on the dirt. My question for Harold Landry, though, can he set an edge? Can he stop the run? And I'm guessing that he fell in the first round because what Brendan was telling me, that he might have a shoulder issue and there's a medical issue there with Harold Landry, and that's why he fell. That's also why Mo Hurst fell from Michigan. There's an apparent heart issue with him. If Darius Geis is there at 52, that's going to be hard to pass up. But the thing about the running backs, there's a lot of depth here in this class. So if it were me, I would wait until like the fourth round to take a running back. But, man, if Darius Geis is there at 52, that's going to be tough to pass on. But fourth round, I mean, like I kind of explained last night, I think you can get somebody like Royce Freeman or Bo Scarborough or whomever. The other thing to watch out for tonight, Michael Kendricks. Will he get traded? I mean, if you take a Malik Jefferson, I think there's a good possibility that Kendricks does get traded. He's a guy, he's more of a blitzing linebacker, but the Eagles, they don't like to blitz their linebackers. They like to rush with 4 and drop back 7. When Michael Kendricks had to play more last year when Jordan Hicks went down, that's where we saw a little bit of a drop-off in his play when he was kind of used in, the third down rush situations. We saw earlier in the season how good he was and the production that came his way. But once he had to play every down, that's when he started struggling and his production fell off. So those are kind of my thoughts. The Eagles could also use that second-round pick for next year, dangle that as trade bait if you want to move up in the second round, or if you want to get another second-round pick, whatever the case might be. Those things wouldn't surprise me. So those are my thoughts right now. If I had a gun to my head, I think Justin Reed might be the pick at 52. I think his coverage skills and the fit is perfect for Philly. And the other name to watch out for, I think, would be Tyrell Crosby or Brian O'Neill. And then if I had to throw 2 more guys out there, Dante Jackson, the slot corner, or Malik Jefferson out of Texas. I don't think Darius Geis is going to fall that far. I don't think Connor Williams is going to fall that far. I don't think Sutton's falling that far. So we'll see. Harold Landry as well. I don't think he goes that far either. So those are my thoughts on the second round tonight. We'll see what the Eagles will do.